Konnichiwa friends, and welcome back to another EnteRChazmaN review/summary for the show Dragon Ball. More specifically, in this high-flying, action-packed video, we'll be covering the Tien Shinhan Saga. As always, just in case for anybody, this video will have spoilers for the Tien Shinhan Saga. So if you're out there and you've already seen Dragon Ball and you're just looking for a refresher course on what happened within this saga, or if you've never even seen anything Dragon Ball related and just want everything summarized for you, or if you just like me and want to hang out for a bit, then this video is just right for you. So let's kick things off with where we ended in the Fortune Teller Baba Saga. We last left off with Goku traveling by sea on his way to Papaya Island, now the location of the World's Martial Arts Tournament. Goku's friends arrive before he does and begins the enrollment process. And yes, even Jackie Chun is able to sneakily get in on the action. While awaiting Goku's arrival, Roshi and the group is approached by two very familiar characters from the previous saga. They're led by their master Shen, or the Hermit Crane. He appears to have had a history with Master Roshi, and at one point they were friends, but are now currently sworn enemies.
I sympathize with your crew, I really do. Inadequacy is always such a tough pill to swallow, but it sure beats public humiliation.
After some time passes, Goku arrives just before the closing of the application process. Warm greetings are spread all around, as well as a few height-related jokes between Goku and Krillin. Master Roshi then announces that he's going to treat everyone to dinner, and then the whole group retreats back to their hotel to await the next day. A scene that I really like from this portion of the very first episode of the saga is when Krillin in the middle of the night decides to wake up early and try to begin getting some training in before some of the other competitors. But he's surprised to find Yamcha had a similar ideal, and the two of them team up for their training, but as they reach the park that they were going to, they realize they're not the early birds that got the worm, proving that this next tournament is going to definitely be the toughest one for them yet. Overall, for me, the setup for the beginning of this saga, leading into the tournament, while a bit basic, does still contain some intrigue as to who this Hermit Crane is, and who/how powerful his two fighters are. There is also one other major question that's brought up within the next few episodes, and I definitely will bring it up and talk about it when it arrives. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the start of the tournament. As preliminary positions are determined, the opening to the tournament is underway, and Yamcha is the first to draw combat. The unlucky mohawk-wearing soul before Yamcha attempts to intimidate his opponent by breaking some wood. Needless to say, that doesn't go too well for him as he is one-punch manned, and Yamcha is left to move on to the next round. In his first fight of the tournament, Krillin is up next, and he draws Anton the Great, a former wrestling champion turned underground fighter. The fight initially starts off with a bit of tension, simply because prior Yamcha talks up Anton the Great to Goku. Then during the fight, Anton grabs Krillin and attempts to squeeze him. He definitely plays up this attack and eventually breaks out and defeats Anton rather easily. Post-fight, Goku is reintroduced to the two mysterious strangers from the previous saga. A bit of a stare-down occurs between the two groups, and before anything major can happen, Jackie Chun steps in and is able to ease things down just a bit. The fighter Tien Shinhan doesn't have long to wait though, as his match pits him up against E Honda, or I mean not E Honda. Okay, I'm just gonna call him E Honda. The hulking sumo wrestler takes a full steam charge towards Tien, and faster than the eyes can see, he lands a blow straight to E Honda's face. The speedy attack mystifies the crowd, and proves to Goku and his squad that defeating Tien will be no simple task. With Tien advancing, our hero finally gets his shot into battle, but in unlucky fashion, his very first match pits him up against a former World's Martial Arts champion in his own right, the undefeated King Choppa.
Don't be afraid, little one. I'll stop before I kill you.
Thank you.
King Choppa starts off the match extremely overconfident and gets mollywopped pretty good at the beginning of the fight. After taking on the embarrassment and being tired of Goku's antics, Choppa unveils his ultimate attack, the 8-handed technique. After expertly dodging all of the hands, Goku launches himself into the air, which seems to put Goku at a disadvantage, and Choppa waits for him to fall back to the floor. Before taking on the hit, Goku uses his breath to control his body, and stops himself in place, dodging the attack, landing a final kick to Choppa, knocking him out of the ring. Remember earlier when I said that this saga raised up another question? While resulting from Goku's impressive win over King Choppa, Master Roshi falls into a sort of midlife sensei crisis, and begins to wonder just how powerful Goku has become, and ponders what the point of him being Goku's sensei is anymore, simply because how can the teacher be the teacher if the student has surpassed him? In his deep state of thought, Master Roshi comes to right in the middle of his match, and accidentally envisions a fight with Goku, leading him to use quite a bit of force to take out his opponent. All of this once again reinforcing the idea within Master Roshi that he kind of needs to prove a point, not to everyone else, but to himself, that he is still needed within the group and does bring something to the table and contribute. The tournament calls a halt to the matches and kind of calls a halftime break for everyone. Yet another confrontation occurs with Tien inside of a restaurant, causing Tien to receive a life-altering burn.
After a hard day's fight, I expect a decent meal. So go cook one. What?
Master Roshi / Jackie Chun once again plays peacemaker and again helps defuse the situation, and Goku and his friends bump into their once rival and now friend, Nam. The friends exchange pleasantries and memories, and then they go their separate ways. But alas, as the tournament continues, as Jackie Chun wins a match, the group discovers Nam knocked out and injured by Tien in a contest. This act of brute force of course enrages Goku, and promises to see any matchup between Goku and Tien to be a good one. With the total amount of fighters remaining dwindled down to just 8, the matchups for the finals are determined simply by drawing a number for each combatant from a box. What all of the competitors don't know is that Chiotzu has a number of hidden abilities, and is coerced by Tien to rig the matches and determine the matchups. After the selections are made, the matchups are determined to be Tien vs Yamcha, Man-Wolf vs Jackie Chun, Krillin vs Chiotzu, and Goku vs Pomput. In that order, the finals are set to commence, and Yamcha vs Tien take the stage. Yamcha launches an opening salvo to begin the match, in what becomes a dazzling display of speed and power, leaving the watching crowd in awe. Even with Yamcha utilizing a new form of his Wolf Fang fist, the Wolf Fang blowing wind technique, the two fighters still are very evenly matched. Unfortunately for Yamcha, Tien at one point during the match does eventually begin to overpower him and take the lead in the fight. Yamcha, while feeling a bit at the end of his rope, decides to use the Kamehameha wave technique, something that up to this point within the anime Yamcha has never used. To the shock of all involved, Tien is able to divert Yamcha's attack back towards him, forcing him to leap into the air in order to avoid the attack, this causing the wave to strike the crowd and leaving Yamcha open and vulnerable. With a powerful kick to Yamcha's midsection, he descends down back towards the ring and lands defeated. In horrific fashion, Yamcha's tour of pain is not yet over, as Tien makes his landing right onto Yamcha's left leg. With Yamcha defeated and not necessarily being in the best of shape, Puar evacs him to a local hospital, all of this adding even more fuel to Goku's fire, and also adding incentive to ensure that Tien does not become champion. With the day coming to a close, the following day's first match pits Jackie Chun vs Man-Wolf. This fight does bring some intrigue due to the fact that, in many instances, Man-Wolf displays some sort of disdain or extreme disliking of Jackie Chun. The reasoning behind this is not necessarily known, but he most definitely has a giant bone to pick. Ah, wolf, dog, bone, nailed it. Now as for this fight, I will be quick, mainly because it's really quite uneventful and pretty much has no bearing on the overall plot or story of this saga really. Essentially, Man-Wolf's gripe with Jackie Chun is that 3 years prior in the previous tournament that Jackie Chun won versus Goku, When Jackie Chun destroyed the moon, reverting Goku back to his normal form, he also prevented Manwolf from being able to revert back to his human form, thus being his reason for pulling out a knife and trying to get revenge on Jackie Chun. At one point, Jackie Chun is able to immobilize Manwolf and utilize Krillin's bald head by hypnotizing Manwolf, making him think it is the moon, thus causing him to transfer back to his human form. So Manwolf gets what he wants and takes off to live his life, with the joke being that he didn't like how scary and hideous he was as Manwolf, but his human form is not exactly a looker either. Either way, he's a happier guy. Krillin and Chiotzu are next to combat in what is one of the more interesting fights, simply because to this point you don't know exactly what Chiotzu is capable of, and him and Krillin have had quite a few back and forths in the saga so far. The match starts with Chiotzu really utilizing a lot of the flying technique, a staple of the Hermit Crane's teachings. While elevated, Chiotzu decides to use an attack that is awfully familiar from a few sagas ago, Mercenary Tao's signature Dodon Ray. Goku recognizes this attack and blurts out that that's the attack that Mercenary Tao utilized, and Tien hears this and confronts Goku about what he means. After explaining to Master Roshi and Tien what had happened 3 years prior, Tien storms off and Master Roshi explains to Goku that Mercenary Tao was Master Shen's brother, and there may be some serious consequences because of this. Tien rushes into the crowd in order to tell his master the news, and this of course infuriates Master Shen, leading him to seek something far more sinister for Master Roshi's students beyond just losing in the tournament. Krillin, while seeking something to combat Chiotzu's Dodon Wave, decides to use the Kamehameha Wave, something of which he has not even trained for yet. After dodging a direct hit, Krillin surprises Chiotzu and hits him flush with a Kamehameha Wave. The attack sends Chiotzu flying, but does not finish him off, and as he makes his way back to the ring, Master Roshi laments that he wishes Krillin would have taken the time to actually train to use the attack because it would have been far more powerful and may have finished off Chiotzu. Along with a spinning headbutt attack that Krillin is able to eventually stymie, Chiotzu, at the fight's conclusion, uses a mysterious attack affecting Krillin's stomach, causing him an immense amount of pain, and deals quite a bit of damage. The attack baffles Krillin until he realizes that Chiotzu is using his hands in order to operate the technique. With realizing earlier in the fight that Chiotzu isn't that quite educated, he throws some good old mathematical equations at Chiotzu, causing him to use his hands in order to try and solve the problems, and distracting him long enough for Krillin to land a winning blow. After celebrating the well-deserved victory with friends, everyone retreats back and calls it a night. In the shadows, though, lies danger for Goku, as a ninja-esque hooded figure attempts to kill him while they're sleeping. The masked assailant comes up empty-handed, though, and is forced to retreat. Goku and Krillin catch up to the figure, and after masking him, it's unveiled to be Master Shen. Wanting revenge for the death of Tao, he makes a go at Goku, but before contact can be made, Tien breaks up the meeting. He then next explains to his master that killing Goku should not be done this way. It needs to be done in the middle of the ring, and in front of everyone, even Goku's friends and family. The thought of breaking Goku and Master Roshi in this way delights Master Shen, and he of course accepts. This scene and exchange in this saga honestly for me is one of my favorite sections within it. Seeing Master Shen go so far in attempting to getting revenge for a brother that even he acknowledges to Goku wasn't very honorable is pretty interesting. Throw on top of that, what's even more interesting is the fact that Tien is so willing to go out of his way to protect the honor of someone as unhonorable as Mercenary Tao, and someone as unhonorable as Master Shen, who's willing to creep into the middle of the night and attempt to kill a kid. The next episode and day within the saga, episode 92, Goku Enters the Ring, is probably the most disposable episode for me within this saga. There's a rather uninteresting side plot of Pompet's business manager attempting to lure Goku into not showing up for his match, but this trickery was thwarted by Launch, who was following close behind, allowing him to make it back to his match in order to face Pompet. This movie star turned fighter, who is the ultimate ladies' man and show-off, gets absolutely obliterated by Goku within a few seconds. And that brings episode 92 to a close. Like I said, for me, a fairly disposable episode. At this point within this saga, we still have 9 episodes to go, episodes 93 through 101, and in my opinion, this is the real meat and potatoes of this saga, with the previous 9 episodes serving as the delectable appetizer. Starting off the final 3 fights, we have Tien versus Jackie Chun. This match starts off with both fighters having very similar strengths, leading into Master Roshi using the mirror image technique in order to try and turn up the heat. But Tien dubs himself too advanced for an amateurish attack such as the mirror image, and is able to use his third eye to pinpoint Master Roshi and put an end to his attack. This showing from Tien proves to Master Roshi that in order to win this fight, it's going to take his all. After doing his best Ash Ketchum impression and changing his attire, Jackie Chun lets the 2 bicep boys come out and play. As the fight becomes increasingly tougher, the combatants continue to draw a stalemate, and after a failed knockout attempt, Tien prepares to use an attack not yet seen within Dragonball. He calls it the Solar Flare, and it's a blindingly bright flash that impairs the sight of all that look upon it temporarily. With Roshi taking a direct hit to his eyeballs, Tien takes advantage and knocks out Master Roshi in what he thinks to be the winning knee. But to Tien's amazement, Jackie Chun shows an incredibly unnatural ability to heal or recover, and this causes Master Shen to really look into Jackie Chun and to figure out that he is actually Master Roshi.
Gotcha! I knew it was you all along, you faker!
Tien Shinhan, don't be fooled by that troublemaker. He's really Master Roshi in disguise.
After learning of Master Roshi's deception, Tien decides to use the Turtle Hermit's signature move against him, his goal in attempting to show that no technique or power is out of his reach. Master Roshi, for the crowd's sake, is able to easily redirect the attack upwards, and takes one more moment to preach some lessons into Tien, something he had been doing throughout the entirety of the fight already. He then turns his back and leaps out of the ring, eliminating himself from the competition. This decision perplexes everyone, especially Tien. I think this is because all Tien knows is fighting and attempting to become the best or number 1 at whatever he's doing. But seeing someone as powerful and skillful as Master Roshi turn down an excellent fight and turn down becoming a champion at something is just something that Tien's brain can't compute with, and just really goes to show how smart and wise Master Roshi still is. Following Master Roshi's passing of the torch or changing of the guard moment, the battle of teammates and battle of childhood friends is getting ready to commence. The fight starts off very well balanced, with both fighters getting a few hits in here or there, and very much just getting a feel for one another and just taking in the moment. Things do begin to pick up when Goku uses a Kamehameha wave to catapult himself straight into Krillin and land a big blow. Deciding to return the favor, Krillin decides to use a wave of his own, but he instead uses his to get the drop on Goku and grabs his tail. This being Goku's primary weakness in all of the previous sagas, Krillin thinks he has the match won, but Goku proves his advancement once more in showing that he has overcome his weakness and his tail no longer puts him out of commission. At the fight's conclusion, Goku does a spin and disappears from view. Most of the patrons and other combatants think it a magic trick, but to the trained eyes such as Tien's, Goku is just moving at such an incredible speed that natural eyesight cannot keep up with it. While we're on this scene, I wish I could ask Akira Toriyama, what's up with my fellow Mexican back here? You couldn't detail or pixelate him any better than that? I mean, I can barely see a sombrero. Back to the action. When Goku reappears, he hits Krillin with a handful of shots, sending Krillin flying outside the ring. With his win, the final match is determined, and the fight that everyone has wanted to see is about to happen. Pre-fight, there are a couple of interesting happenings. There's a really cool scene of Tien meditating in his hotel room. It's a pretty cool visual that shows him thinking on what Master Roshi had said, and also visualizing his fight with Goku. Additionally, Yamcha arrives right before the fight against Doctor's orders, and wants to root Goku on from the crowd. Their fight begins with a blistering pace, and early on the two of them take to the air, resulting in Goku getting a direct hit from the Dodon wave. To Tien's dismay, he of course survives the attack, mainly because I'm assuming his body has adjusted completely to the Dodon wave, mainly due to his fights with Mercenary Tao, so he's very experienced with it. Goku then attempts to use that incredible speed that he used to defeat Krillin, but it most definitely does not work on Tien, and he unleashes an incredibly horrific barrage of strikes at Goku. He thinks Goku defeated, but Goku hops right back up and announces that he has been holding back his true strength this whole time, dubbing it his battle strength. With the two fighters completely unchained, the match is ready to really heat up. At one point in the fight, Goku begins to take a bit of an advantage. He gets in some good strikes and Tien once again resorts to attempting to use his solar flare technique. The result this time though, versus the result he had from Master Roshi's fight, is not quite the same, as Goku catches his punch and hits him really good in the gut. How Goku avoided the flash is actually pretty funny. Prior to the attack, with incredible speed, he rushed over and grabbed Master Roshi's sunglasses, thus countering the light. Tien is not out for the count though, and the fight continues. At one point, multiple times whenever Goku would go in to strike, his body would for some reason freeze up, allowing him to be struck down by Tien. After continuously happening and wondering why Goku is calling cheater, Tien looks over to Master Shen and Chiotzu. He learns that Chiotzu is the reason for his winning of the fight so far, and this knowledge hurts his honor. After being pushed and prodded by Master Shen to kill Goku while he's held down by Chiotzu, Tien finally has his moment as an individual, further backing up the name of this episode number 99, Tien's Insurrection.
Tien Shinhan! Leave me alone!
Tien's insubordination of course does not go over well with Master Shen, and he demands once more that Tien kill Goku, but Tien finally comes to grips and admits that he is no killer and doesn't have it in him to do it. This enrages Master Shen and he commands Chiotzu to freeze both of them so that he can kill them, but Chiotzu says he's willing to do anything for his master but harm Tien. Master Shen then readies to strike down Chiotzu, but quickly is swept away from a Kamehameha wave from Master Roshi, an attack that Roshi claims is not life-ending, this paving the way for Tien to solely focus on his goal, and clearly shows that already Master Roshi's teachings are beginning to take hold on Tien. Skipping ahead to the climax of the match, Tien declares that Goku prepare for a devastating attack, a technique that Master Roshi claims rivals the Kamehameha wave, and one that is so powerful that it drains the power of the user and shortens their lifespan. The Tri-Beam attack, a signature technique of the Crane School, is unleashed upon Goku and absolutely obliterates the arena. With everyone thinking that Goku has perished, it is realized that Goku actually leaped incredibly high up into the sky in order to avoid the attack, and Tien flies up into the air to meet him. Tien then declares himself the winner, seeing as how Goku doesn't have a ring to land on, he will be disqualified. But to Tien's surprise, Goku, of course being Goku, says that it's not over, and takes the fight back to Tien while airborne. He Kamehameha wave catapults his head straight into Tien, and the two of them descend towards the ground, the winner being whoever lands second. Unfortunately for our hero, Goku lands first, causing Tien to be named the champion of the World Martial Arts Tournament. But the result is not completely somber, as both fighters are greeted by the crowd and celebrated for their incredible fight. This adulation for Tien is a totally new thing to him, proving to be a big turning point for him and Chiotzu. After apologizing to Yamcha for what he did to him, he offers to pay for dinner for everyone using his prize money. As the group arrives to the restaurant, Goku then realizes that he forgot his grandfather's 4-star Dragon Ball and his power pole back at the arena, of which causes Krillin to offer to go back and pick it up for him. While eating their dinner, Goku has a sinking feeling about Krillin and rushes back to the stadium. To his dismay, he finds Krillin dead, and the announcer tells him that an evil monster broke in and killed him. And that incredible cliffhanger signals the end of the saga. Overall for me, after not watching Dragon Ball for a bit and really going back through all of the sagas, I would say the Tien Shinhan Saga is most definitely in my top 2, and really introduces some great new moments and great aspects to the Dragon Ball series and lore. It contains Roshi's passing of the torch to the next generation of fighters and heroes of Earth. There's also the result and ultimate dealing of Mercenary Tao's death with Master Shen. You've got 2 new techniques never seen within Dragon Ball introduced, being the Solar Flare and the Tri-Beam attack. We've also got the first actual fight between Goku and Krillin. There's the Tien heel turn and subsequent insurrection. And finally we get the death of Krillin. Overall, yeah, this saga has me totally ramped up and ready to shoot straight into the next sagas. There's only 2 left and I can't wait to really revisit and watch these again. Anyways guys, like always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I would absolutely love to hear back from you guys in the comments. Like, love, or hated the video, whatever, I just love hearing your guys' opinion, whether on my content or on Dragon Ball in general. I can talk about it all day. Lastly, once again, thank you so much for watching guys, I love you, please be safe, and I can't wait to deliver you guys more content on the next EnteRChazmaN. Adios, mis amigos. Hey now, I see you made it through the video and liked or even possibly loved it. Well, if you want to see any more additional content or you'd like to get into contact with me, consider checking out some of my social medias right here. And if you'd like to go above and beyond and want to support my channel monetarily, here is also a couple places where you can do so. And if nothing else, simply liking, sharing, and subscribing would make me the happiest ChazmaN on the planet.